All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media, and my name is just is Judson Bow. Okay, I don't know my name. I can't say my name. No, I got a little throat blockage. Once again, throat chakra being attacked because when you speak truth, you get attacked spiritually, and I understand that. But I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. And also, the powers that be don't want me to speak on this stuff. So I'm going to talk about relationships, love, marriage, all of that kind of stuff. Okay, I have literally been married 3 times. So I'm on my 3rd wife. And I laugh because 3rd time is a charm. This woman that I'm married to now is a great woman. Period. End of story. Nothing that. So anyway, so we talk all the time, or she talks, and sometimes I talk, sometimes I listen, sometimes she listens, sometimes we don't. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is one part of reality that we experience, and the reality that we experience is the fact that there is no such thing. And I think this is the problem, especially with Black folks, is that we hold on to this concept of agape or unconditional love. And there is no such thing as unconditional love. Everybody, even if you believe in God and Jesus, whatever you believe in, even your God does not have unconditional love. And you certainly don't have unconditional love. I think that a lot of times people get caught up in this stuff and they don't realize what they're really espousing is the fact that this is something they want or something they've been told, but it's not true. So you mean to tell me if somebody is using you, abusing you, dogging you, doing all this stuff to you, you're still going to be in love with them? It's probably not true. There is no such thing as unconditional love. And the next thing is the same, and this is the old school. This is my grandma and my granny. There is no such thing as unconditional love. You have conditions. You have things that the person, and that old school, the same thing that you did to get them, you got to do to keep them. So, because there was a reason why, quote unquote, they fell in love with you. And the other thing is, the same thing that you did to get them, you got to do to keep them. And if you don't do it in order to keep them, they're going to be in the wind. So I guess that's the whole thing that I want to get across. The whole point that I want to get across is that the same thing that you did to get them, you have to do to keep them. Let me say it again. The same thing that you did to get them, you have to keep on doing it in order to keep them. The other thing is, if you don't have conditions, then you're just a walkover. And the other thing is, they're going to stay with you until they get to the person that they want to get to. And what is the whole thing is that you might have did something, to be in the comfort zone, and that's unfortunate. And the other thing is, you have to have some type of agreement. There has to be a reason. Nobody does things for no reason. Nobody. or nobody does anything that's not beneficial to them. And then sometimes you get into a situation where you feel like um, the conditions don't meet the standard that you're seeking or that you're used to. All right? No such thing as unconditional love. It just is not there. And love is an action. It's a verb. It's complete and total actions all of the time. And then I see these people, and I see people, and that have higher platforms, and that's it. The only unconditional love, and that's why we say, know thyself, and to thy own self be true. Because the only person that you have unconditional love for is you. Let me say that again so that you know. The only person that you have unconditional love for is you. Because, if your significant other starts acting a fool, or doesn't show the actions of love, then, like I said, they're in the wind. They're gone. And there's things that's keeping them there and holding them there, but it's not unconditional. I mean, come on, think about it. What is unconditional love? And how does this unconditional love work? So you mean to tell me that if your significant other is a abuser and a mass murderer, you're gonna stay with that person unconditionally? No, you're not. And so that's why I look at, when the conditions are being challenged, that's the how do I want to say this? When the conditions are being challenged, that's when you have to work the hardest on your marriage. And there's a lot of things that can be avoided if you subscribe to your ancestors' spirituality. That's why stuff don't work. The reason why a lot of stuff don't work, and I found this out, is you don't subscribe to your ancestors' spirituality. So you don't look at astrotheology, you don't look at astrology and things like that when you're putting your marriage together. You just look at your kundalini energy and your root chakra. In fact, a lot of times you don't even look at your heart chakra. You don't look at your sacral chakra. You don't look at any of that stuff. You just look at how you feel or how the person makes you feel. And the problem is that the way you feel when you start off is not the way you feel, years into a situation, and you don't understand how to change. Just like astrology, just like I talked to my son, my second son, because he lives with me, and so we talk about this stuff. And what about astrology? Because certain things in your life line up with the planets, the stars, the universe, and all that. In fact, everything in your life does. So how do you make all this stuff line up? How do you line up with their significant other, with your partner? How do the stars line up between both of you? Ask yourself these questions. And if you're not asking yourself these questions before you get married or before you get into, and see, the other thing is marriage is the only relationship. We got so many, baby mama, baby daddy, side chick, side piece, work husband, work wife, all of these different titles or things that are in our relationships, but the only one that's ordained by the Most High is marriage. And I remember my current wife, and I'd be like, "Hey, babe, cook for me." Her response was, "Marry me." You know, give me some bomb sex, marry me. Have this thing for me, marry me. And too many of us are satisfied with giving up the stuff that we want, but no marriage. Or you've been dating somebody for years, and you got children with them and you got all this stuff with them, but yet and still they're not good enough to marry. And why is that? Why is it? So there is no such thing as unconditional love. Your love has conditions. My love has conditions. Your God has conditions on their love. And I don't know if they're just being there is the condition. So think about these things, because I think that the world lies to you. Hollywood lies to you, that love is a certain feeling or whatever, but love is an action. I mean, just having lower Kundalini interest in somebody, that's where we get caught up. It's like when we fall victim to our lower vibrations. I think that's where most people are. And that's not real love. That's just physical love. It has nothing to do with spiritual love. And until you get yourself into spiritual love, you don't know what love is. And that's why I always used to tell my dad. And I would talk to my dad, and I would just be like, blown away by the things that he would say. Because he would espouse this thing about, well, I've never been loved unconditionally. And none of us have. Think about it. Like I said, just think about this whole concept. There are conditions. There are conditions to love. Anyway, fastest 15 minutes is up. I'm just thinking about some stuff. Anyway, hit all the buttons for me. Hit the buttons and hit the love. Literally, hit the love button with your spouse or with your significant other. And if you haven't, then marry them.